We've entered the Aquarian age, where authenticity outweighs conformity and self-expression has become the ultimate form of value. Yet there is a hidden truth most people miss. Carl Jung predicted this transformation a century ago, not through economic analysis, but through psychological insight. He wasn't studying financial markets. He was mapping the human psyche. In our culture of relentless productivity and competition, Jung presented a revolutionary idea. You aren't defined by your past experiences, but by the choices you make moving forward. Here is the paradigm shift. What if wealth creation today isn't about increasing output, but about deepening self-knowledge? What if the rejected aspects of yourself, the shadow you've been avoiding, is actually your greatest creative asset? Keep watching, because the 5 concepts I'm sharing aren't typical money-making schemes. They're about generating income from something far more enduring, your authentic truth. Let's clarify something important. Carl Jung isn't creating online courses or building social media empires. He never traded stocks or invested in cryptocurrency, but he understood psychological patterns and the inner structure of consciousness better than most understand digital algorithms. Jung's gift was revealing how to access something more powerful than any strategy, the genuine self. If there is any real advantage today, it is this: authenticity is the new productivity. Before discussing money, we must explore wholeness. Jung's fundamental concepts of individuation and the shadow contain essential wisdom. Individuation represents the journey toward becoming your complete self, integrating conscious awareness with unconscious elements. It is about embodying your truest nature rather than the version that earned approval, followed expectations, or satisfied others. The shadow encompasses everything you've suppressed: your unconventional qualities, your raw emotions, your chaotic impulses, your audacious aspirations, your desire to abandon conventional life and pursue creative freedom. Jung understood the shadow isn't malevolent. It is simply unexpressed potential. And within that unexpressed potential often lies your brilliance. Consider this example: a successful attorney, respected and accomplished, secretly felt empty inside. She loved creating cartoons and writing mystical fiction. After burning out and leaving her legal career, she allowed herself to draw freely. Within 2 years, she launched a hugely successful webcomic series, generating 6 figures annually, simply because she stopped concealing her artistic nature and integrated her playful spirit. That is individuation. That is what happens when shadow aspects are welcomed. Here is the crucial understanding. We're living in an era where value no longer derives from physical labor alone. We're transitioning from the work for wages paradigm into an alignment for impact economy. People hunger for authenticity. They crave genuine human connection. They don't seek perfection, they seek resonance. When you present yourself completely, including shadow aspects, quirks, and dreams, you become compelling. Integration creates expansion. Awareness becomes wealth. The traditional framework that demanded suffering for success, diminishment for achievement, and competition for advancement is collapsing. Artificial intelligence is automating countless tasks. Audiences are developing stronger intuition. Consumers are becoming producers. Expression is the emerging marketplace. When you stop distorting yourself to fit existing systems, you discover you are the system. Your narrative becomes your methodology. Your presence becomes your economy. Money emerges naturally from living authentically, not as compensation for silent struggle before continuing if you're passionate about expanding consciousness and exploring life's deeper dimensions, subscribe to Fractal Wisdom for more content. Stay engaged, because by this video's conclusion, you might discover your wealth pathway was hidden within your own experience all along. Now let's explore 5 powerful, authentic, spiritually grounded approaches to earning income, not through exhausting effort, but through becoming more genuinely yourself. These concepts might challenge conventional success narratives. That is precisely the intention. When you break mental constraints, money flows where energy was previously blocked. First, shadow-based storytelling, transforming experience into expression. That difficult experience you've endured, the heartbreak, the struggle, the trauma, the destructive patterns, the shame that silenced you for years, that is valuable material. We inhabit a world starving for authenticity. Genuineness has transcended buzzword status to become essential. When you share your story with awareness, not seeking sympathy but offering healing, people connect, people invest to hear it, read it, and experience it. Mental health professionals are becoming content creators. Survivors are becoming writers. Individuals are developing courses, podcasts, books, documentaries, even digital journaling platforms, not from credentials but from depth. What once remained hidden now becomes signature content. The shadow whispers nobody cares. The reality is that is exactly what people need. When you stop performing and start revealing, income appears, sometimes gradually, often unexpectedly, but always after you embrace honesty. Second, soul-guided mentorship. Your journey becomes the teaching. Let's acknowledge reality. Traditional education systems are failing under their own limitations. We've been conditioned to believe credibility requires diplomas, titles, and institutional validation. But something radical is emerging. People are recognizing that information doesn't guarantee transformation. You can possess degrees yet remain emotionally disconnected. You can hold advanced credentials yet be separated from intuition. You can invest enormous sums in education yet remain uncertain about your purpose. People are exhausted by this disconnect. What we're seeking now is genuine depth, not additional information, but inner evolution, not academic theory, but lived wisdom. That is your opportunity. If you've navigated something and truly integrated it, you're qualified. Not because institutions certified you, but because existence initiated you. We don't need more lecturers reciting information. We need humans who've confronted their shadows, healed ancestral patterns, and can support others doing the same. Your experience is your authority. People are seeking soul-aligned coaches, guides, intuitive strategists, holistic mentors, not based on credentials, but on resonance, on the clarity in your communication, on the groundedness in your energy, on the wisdom you embody. Monetizing your healing doesn't mean exploiting it. It means honoring it. It means recognizing your survival, your awakening, your perspective offers medicine for others. Whether you provide individual sessions, create spiritual development programs, or simply speak authentically online, remember your truth suffices. The only qualifications required now are self-awareness, embodiment, and willingness to accompany others as they remember their essence. That is what builds genuine wealth, the kind that nourishes your soul and everyone you touch. Third, creative transmutation, art from the soul. Notice how your spontaneous creative impulses feel energized. That is because creativity is soul expression. It is the unconscious attempting communication. In this economy where automation replaces routine tasks, what remains sacred is originality. People aren't merely purchasing aesthetics, they're purchasing resonance. You don't need exceptional talent, you just need honesty in expression. This could manifest as intuitive artwork, spoken word poetry, archetypal oracle decks, digital illustrations from dreams, journals, zines, channeled insights. People recognize when something emerges from a healed heart, and the marketplace responds. Your uniqueness, your vision, your metaphors, that is your niche now. Fourth, micro-content wisdom, broadcasting your frequency. Today, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and Reels aren't just entertainment platforms. They're digital stages where people generate real income simply by speaking, sharing, and existing. When your voice emerges from integration, people recognize it, they engage. Even 30 seconds of grounded, embodied insight can transform someone's perspective. When you post consistently from service, resonance, and curiosity, opportunities discover you. Paid speaking engagements, collaborations, content monetization, even spiritual mentorships. You're not an influencer, you're a beacon, and people notice those who illuminate the path. Fifth, conscious community creation, monetizing connection. This might be the most undervalued income stream. You don't need thousands of followers. You need genuine connections. If you possess a unique perspective, worldview, or lived experience, others like you are searching for you. You can establish supportive group spaces for self-discovery, online healing circles, niche newsletter communities, paid membership platforms, supporter-funded content that evolves with your audience. This isn't about positioning yourself as an authority, online healing circles. It is about being a reflection. Create spaces where people feel recognized, and money becomes a natural consequence of that trust. Notice how none of these income approaches require becoming someone else. They're about releasing who you were told to be and remembering what you already are. Jung's teaching wasn't about fixing ourselves, but about seeing ourselves completely, light and darkness, persona and mystery. That wholeness isn't merely spiritual. It is practical. When you know yourself, you stop pursuing. When you stop pursuing, you start attracting. By now, you've discovered how money transcends economics. It is about energy, alignment, and truth. Perhaps part of you feels excited, while another part whispers doubts like, who would compensate me for this? I'm not ready yet. What if I fail? What if it is too late? What if I'm insufficient? That is not your authentic voice. That is your conditioning, your personal unconscious, and deeper still, the collective unconscious Jung described. Carl Jung didn't merely offer theories. He provided a map of the psyche. Within that map exist archetypes, universal patterns inhabiting all of us. Some archetypes elevate us, others obstruct our potential. If you've struggled to monetize your gifts, you're likely entangled with one or more internal narratives, stories you didn't create but keep repeating. Today we'll examine 5 common abundance, blocking archetypes, and more importantly, learn how to rewrite them. 1. The compliant student. This archetype insists follow protocols, execute correctly, seek approval first. It is the voice of perfectionism, of awaiting permission, of seeking external validation. This tells you not to launch your offering, not to share your art, not to request payment, because you haven't learned sufficiently. But here is reality. Mastery doesn't precede action. It emerges through it. To transcend the compliant student, shift from seeking approval to sharing your evolution. Reveal your process. Be human. Be authentic. That builds trust. You're permitted to teach while growing. You're permitted to offer insights while still becoming. That is not deception. That is real-time leadership. 2. The silent healer. This one is subtle. It is the part wanting to help, support, heal, but never charge. It questions, how can I request money when people are suffering? It romanticizes struggle and spiritualizes scarcity. But understand, you cannot give from depletion. Healing isn't free. It requires time, energy, presence, preparation. Your life force holds value. This archetype must understand money isn't a betrayal of service. It is sacred exchange, enabling sustainable service. The reframe, your healed energy, is a resource. Let it circulate. 3. The struggling artist. The struggling artist believes authentic creativity requires suffering, that genuine expression demands pain, and that money corrupts art. This is romantic mythology, but dangerous because it keeps brilliant people impoverished and exhausted. Jung would identify this as shadow projection, a refusal to let the inner child experience abundance, clinging to drama instead of allowing joy as inspiration. To dissolve this, recognize money not as threat but as amplification for your art, giving it reach, letting it travel, connecting it with those who need it. Abundance doesn't diminish creativity, it liberates it. 4. The invisible one you've been hiding. Not from apathy, but because deep down you believe invisibility is safer. This archetype learned early that visibility invites judgment, rejection, or danger. So you've maintained a small voice, private magic, dimmed power. But understand, now isn't the time for diminishment, not spiritually, not economically. The invisible one must become the sacred witness. You can be gentle and visible, soft and courageous. You don't need to shout to be seen. You simply need to stand in your truth and let others feel your presence. 5. The excessive giver. This archetype gives continuously, over-explains, over-delivers, overworks. It originates from unworthiness. It declares, I must prove I deserve receiving. This is exhaustion masquerading as generosity, and it is not noble. It is survival to heal the excessive giver. Reclaim your right to receive, rest, and be supported. You don't need to justify your pricing with excessive bonuses. You don't need to respond to every message immediately. You're permitted to give from abundance, not obligation. Prosperity flows through balanced exchange. You give, you receive, you breathe. Here is the deeper reality. Money today isn't about credentials. It is about coherence. Not about volume, but about alignment. People don't compensate you for perfection. They compensate you for authenticity. The more you integrate these inner archetypes by recognizing them, healing them, rewriting them, the more naturally opportunities, clients, and ideas arrive. Not because you pursued them, but because you became available for them. That is the revolution Jung never witnessed, but absolutely anticipated. A world where inner work becomes outer wealth, where consciousness becomes Earth's most valuable asset. Now that you've encountered the aspects of yourself creating obstacles, perhaps for the first time you're sensing it, this transformation occurring beneath the surface. It is no longer merely about generating money, but about creating meaning, about designing a life where your gifts are the offering, your healing is the evidence, and your energy, when directed intentionally, becomes the magnet for abundance. Now that you've made the unconscious conscious, now that you see yourself, everything changes. Let's discuss how to embody this, how to actually construct a lifestyle and income around your inner truth. This isn't a marketing formula. It is a frequency blueprint. First, anchor into core presence. Begin here. What energy does your presence transmit effortlessly? Not the role you've performed, not the job description, but the actual frequency you bring into spaces. Is it stabilizing? Is it catalytic? Is it mystical, gentle, incisive, playful, poetic. Your income will be sustainable only when your output matches your authentic state. That means grounding your offerings, your content, your services in that energy, not trends. Ask yourself, if my soul had a business structure, what would it be? Then build from that. No facade, no branding costume, just essence. And essence always resonates. Second, build a resonant offering ecosystem. This is where structure meets soul. Consider your energy like a narrative arc. Some people will discover you at the beginning, others will enter midway. So what do you want to offer them at each stage? Here is a powerful framework many soul-led creators are implementing: free resonance content. This is your medicine for the collective short-form videos, writing audio, intuitive insights, personal truths, archetypal narratives, not to convert but to connect. Accessible entry offering, an affordable workshop, class or creative product, allowing people to deepen connection. Core signature offering. This is the heartbeat. Individual service, group program, rooted in your deepest transmission, community container, a membership or recurring sacred space where people can evolve with you. This creates continuity emotionally and financially. You don't need to force these, just begin with one. Let others emerge as you evolve. Let your business model mirror your psyche, fluid, cyclical, alive. Third, design your life for joy and flow. Money without freedom is merely another constraint. So let's reverse the formula. Instead of constructing your life around your work, construct your work around your life. Ask yourself, when am I most energized? How many hours weekly do I genuinely want to dedicate to others? What kinds of clients or audiences replenish my energy? How much income do I need to feel secure, safe, creative? Then reverse engineer your offerings to align with those answers. No more depleting schedules. No more sacrificing your essence for external deadlines. You're not here to be productive. You're here to be empowered. Fourth, maintain the ritual of creativity. Here is something business schools don't teach. Creativity isn't optional. It is nervous system regulation. It is spiritual maintenance. It is how you remain clear enough to serve. Your creativity is your compass. When you stop nurturing it, you lose direction. So daily create space for non-monetized creativity. Write, draw, dance, daydream, shadow journaling to clear unconscious residue. Somatic movement to release and integrate. Sitting in silence so your authentic voice can emerge. These are maintenance for your magic. Fifth, let your evolution guide your expansion. Here is the ultimate truth. Your income will always reflect your self-trust level, and self-trust grows when you stop clinging to outdated versions of yourself. The model, the niche, the content approach, all of it is meant to evolve. So allow it when your inner world upgrades. Let your outer offerings shift too. Let your pricing rise with your empowerment. Your voice deepen with your clarity. Your audience expand with your truth. You're not building a brand. You're building a body of work. What Jung revealed, and what many are finally learning to embody, is that the external world reflects the internal world. The more you integrate, the more you receive, the more you express, the more you magnetize, the more you honor your truth, the more life honors you reciprocally. And yes, that includes money, but more significantly, it includes peace. So here is the invitation. Don't just consume this. Let it integrate. Let it transform how you perceive work wealth. And your value, the old paradigm of hustle, burnout, and anonymous labor, is obsolete. When creating a new economy, one soul at a time. If this journey resonated with you, share it. Let others know we don't have to sacrifice our truth for survival anymore. Subscribe to Fractal Wisdom and join a collective committed to living deeper, not louder. This is the future. Jung foresaw it. We're embodying it. Now it is your turn to live it. Go create the life your soul has been calling for and let prosperity follow.